Hey everyone, it's Kim Beegler, owner of Ewethful Fiber Farm and Mill, and I am here with Elsie and a bunch of wool. And we're going to talk a lot about wool. I've got some wool cold soaking here that we are going to pull out and then take over to the mill and wash it up. If you are new here, Ewethful is an inclusive community, which means all sexes, all gender identities, all skin colors, all religions, all economic levels. We are all welcome here, and that is what our country needs here in the United States, is to unite together and to stop maybe being so divisive. And that is something that I will soapbox about later, but if that is your vibe, welcome. Let's get talking about wool. Okay, so I'm looking glamorous as ever here. Mitch was gone for the night, so I picked up some extra farm duties. He was overdue for a good night away from the farm, and we survived. We think he's coming back tonight. We hope so. We hope so. He's been missed for many reasons. Okay, so this is the last of the Shetland that I am washing up, I think, for the kits that I'll be putting together for the spin to knit along. And I'm gonna, my Patreon community will get access to the kits in probably about 2 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks, towards the end of October. And then after that, they will go up in the online shop. So if you're not on my newsletter, jump on there. I have been dyeing up, I've been washing up different colors of Shetland. I have been dyeing up different colors of Shetland, and I'll announce the pattern and all that stuff as we get closer. My Patreoners have a little clue to it, but so this is the last of the Moorit Shetland. And so you can see, I think, I'll make sure you can see how dirty the water is. And this is like, it's so easy when you have darker fleeces to think, oh, they're not that dirty. Well, they came from the same farm, and I'm not saying this in a disparaging way. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we have got, I'm trying to make sure I'm not flashing you all. Good morning. Anyway, here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of rain, and it's nearly impossible to not have muddy sheep. I mean, you'd have to keep them in, and what fun would that be for them, right? So I'm gonna show you this. Woo! That's a lot of dirt, and then we're gonna dump it. Not on me, hopefully. And then we're gonna move on to the other one, just so you can see. I won't have you stay with me the whole time, but let me move a little bit, and you can get a good idea of this fleece here. And maybe I'll turn away from you so there's less chance of me flashing you, but this is a really nice dark fleece. So we have pretty much all the colors that I wanted, and I soaked this last night. That Moorit one has soaked for a couple nights because I couldn't wash all of it at once, but this one I put in last night. I just used water from my hose, and here it is. And you can kind of see as I'm squishing it out that the water's pretty dirty just from one night of soaking. And like I said, it would be super easy to be like, oh, I don't really, there's no dirt. These look so clean compared to the white fleeces. But the reality is there's dirt, even if you're not in the Pacific Northwest. So I'm going to go ahead and finish pulling this out. And you can see I'm not like, I'm not terribly babying the wool. I'm giving it a good squish, and then we're tossing it in the bucket. It'll go to the mill, and it'll go straight into the washing machine. And I have not added anything to this. It's just water from my hose. Nice cold water from my hose. Okay, I don't think I can wash all of this in one load, so we may just do part of it. Okay, let's head onward. All right, we made it to the mill. It is much later than I would usually get here, but we are here nonetheless, and we have got our wool, and I'm a little concerned that that might be a little bit of dander. I'll show you on here. So we'll see what that does. I'm gonna pull that chunk just because that's kind of a heavy spot. And I was recently we talk about scurf here and there, that you'll get a fleece that has some dander in it. Assuming it's scurf, which comes from if they have you know, an external parasite that kind of chews at their skin a bit, and then a dander is left. And the problem is there's not going to be that little parasite, those little lice or anything are not going to be like affecting you. I think my cat is screaming out there. Anyway, but the problem is this is just a chunk of high VM. See, because we loosened up some of that, I can see the VM a little bit more. Anyway, the problem with the dander is that it is attached to the fiber. It's very hard to get that out. Really, the only successful way I have had of getting dander out is to dye the fiber. And then I think just that extra heat or the combination of the dye and citric acid, things like that, just helps disintegrate that. But anyway, I was talking to a shepherd recently about how she had some dander recently, and she's like, there was no parasites, and how sometimes it can be, she's done some research, deficiency in a certain mineral, which is really interesting. So, and I've had it too. We've had it in our sheep, and we've had it before where we did see some parasites, but not every time, right? There's we've had it once or twice since then. We're just like a sheep or two will have it, and it's more, I am guessing, I'm starting to lean towards that's what it is. When you don't see any sign of what else it would be, you start thinking food. So anyway, very interesting. If you get a fleece with scurf, you know, you can really nicely just let the shepherd know, or with dander, I should say, so that they are alerted to it. Because a lot of times you can't really tell until it's washed, honestly. And so a shepherd may not know. It's not that they're trying to like pull one over on you. So anyway, I'm just here at the washer. I am opening up the fleece, and this has been cold soaked, pulled straight from the bin like you saw earlier, and then going straight in here. And I'm just kind of squeegeeing some of that dirty water out because, you know, why would I put dirty water in there if I don't have to? And also it's easier to open up without flinging dirty water all over yourself. So I'm just dividing it out here, and you'll see I'm doing the dark, and in this last compartment, I'm gonna do this light brown. And in general, it won't blend because we have these dividers. The water travels through the dividers, but I wouldn't do necessarily, like, I definitely wouldn't do anything that had guard hairs in it or Kemp, because I would prefer not to have it travel between fleeces that don't have it. But otherwise, I am pretty open to just washing stuff different colors together. You know, white, I might be a little like less hesitant to do with something super dark, but okay, I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet now, and I am going to get this finished up, and I think we're gonna go pick. I need to get orders out today, the rest of the orders from our Patreon shop update, and I need to get some wool picked while we have this nice weather. So that's on the agenda while I'm here today. Okay, carrying on. Okay, you all, we are at the picker, and we're starting to pick out this Shetland. And I'm gonna start with this yellow or this gold color, because it's a little bit finer, it's super humid, and that's what I want for this to have an easier way through the picker. Now, this did get compacted with dyeing, and it was kind of shorter, finer locks to begin with. So it's gonna take me extra time to pick this out, because I'm just gonna be sure that I'm helping it along the way and kind of dividing it out into chunks. So the machine will continue the work that I am doing here, but I'm kind of doing like a preliminary pick because these locks are a little bit tight, and I don't think that they will just get through the teeth well on their own. And it's gonna be different. This is some of our Shetland and some Shetland that we have purchased. So our Shetland is a little bit looser and perhaps not quite as fine. Kind of goes hand in hand. Those two things tend to go hand in hand. So if you're looking for a Shetland that is easier to process, just like any fiber really, staying clear from the super fines is going to make, wait, I think I got wool, you all. It's just gonna make things a little bit easier. If you're like new to processing, not all Shetland fleeces are going to process the same, just like any breed. So I'm just sitting and doing some preliminary work. We have just under 2 pounds of this, so it'll take me longer. And you know, I've talked about before, this is why you'll pay more from some smaller mills, because some of us are putting in some extra effort to make sure these things come out the best that we possibly can get them to, right? And given our equipment, this is, you know, we don't have full-on commercial equipment, so we're limited by, to some extent, by how our machines process. And you get to know your machines, and you get to know what they're gonna do well with and not. So I'm gonna chug along on this. I'll pop you over to the other side so you can see some of it coming out. Woo! I think I need to put some lotion on. Getting caught up in my own hands, which happens, especially because between farming and wooling, you wash your hands quite a bit. So, okay, I'm gonna let you go to the other side. And you know, if you're at home, you'd probably be doing something similar. Maybe not with the picker, but here we go. Oop. Let me get a little more on there for you. But it looks like it's picking out well, which is what I wanted. I've been kind of waiting for this type of humidity to come on. I'm sure it's at least 60% in the mill right now, which is when you want to be processing, at least picking. Once we get through picking, I can condition it and we can fly from there, but there's only so much you can do to get through the picker. And if you don't have the humidity, it makes it very difficult. So, okay, you all, I will let you see this when we've all got it all picked out. And then the next up is the kind of sprucey teal color. All right, here is our pile of fluff. So this is about 2 pounds of the yellow. We're gonna go on to the sprucey color next. And the main reason I'm doing these is because they were pretty compacted wool and they were dyed. So it just added to it, right? They're a little bit sensitive to start with. And then on top of it, they were dyed. So usually I would put this like in a bin, you know, in a laundry tub really is what I use, and condition it and get it ready to move on. I don't even know that I would need to condition it at this point, but because my goal right now is just to pick my little heart out, because I'm leaving town soon and I have no idea what the weather's gonna be like when I get back, but since it's October, it should not be dry. Anyway, so that's my washer yelling at me. I am just going to bag this up, vacuum out the picker, and move on to the next color, so that if I don't get any carding done until I get back, most everything is picked and ready to go. And that is a pretty fast process once I just start carding away. So a little different than how I usually do things, but that's all right. Let me show you up close and personal. Ooh la la, much more open now. Okay, I gotta go get that washer. All right, you all, I'm in the home stretch to go home, but first we got to get that wool out of the washer that we just washed up. So can you even, oh my goodness. So the first thing we're going to do is make some room for it on the drying rack. And so this is all the brown Shetland, most of it, except for the last little bit that we washed up today. And so I'm going to pull all this off and we're just going to stick it over in the picker space. And this will all, definitely was trying to flash you all there, but don't worry, I have a sports bra on, so it's not too risque around here. Okay, so we're gonna empty these out. I'm gonna stick these, and I don't just leave wool sitting around the mill because I get paranoid about, this is a very old building, and so I get paranoid rightfully so, about wool moths. We all should be a smidge paranoid about wool moths, unless you are lucky enough to live in a place where it's not a thing, but it is definitely a thing here. And especially these old buildings where, you know, nothing is sealed. So rather than play with fire with the amount of wool I have in here, everything is stored kind of safely in bins or places that just, you know, won't attract moths. So I don't have an issue, and we are going to keep it that way. It was more of a concern when I was processing for other people, because you just didn't always know what was coming in the door, and I got pretty hardcore about knowing what was coming in the door. But there were people that tried to bring some wool in with some moths. No. It's like a wool mill owner's nightmare. So anyway, okay, we've got that emptied enough that I have got space. So let's go ahead and we'll pull some of this dark wool so you can see how lovely it is. Ooh, I'll lay it out and then you can see it on the rack. It did not have scurf. It did not have scurf. It didn't have dander. It was just, I think, bits of VM. These are pretty VM. Oh my goodness, you all, this is gorgeous. I do just want to run away with all this Shetland. Like, I could just retire and spin Shetland for the rest of my life at home quietly, right? That's an option. Anyway, this is really gorgeous. The handle is just like all the other Shetland, really stunning. And so we're gonna plop that on there and grab the next one. And then I'll just zip through with a vacuum, because nobody likes to come into a dirty workspace. So here's another batch. And all we have left is the rest of this fleece to wash as far as Shetland. So I'll probably, either I'll skirt, I have a couple more of my Shetlands that I may skirt out and then we'll just wash that way. Because I don't think it was quite enough to do a whole load with, so whatever, we'll figure it out, no big deal. Okay, there's that. And then there was one more of that brown, which is stunning also. That more is just really beautiful. So, and this is a really interesting, like, it just is different shades to it. Almost a little bit of gray in there. Now, of course, it'll get all blended up. But it's just gorgeous. And I think all of this should be fairly easy to pick out. So if I don't get this picked before I head out of town, I think we'll be all right. But I'm just kind of going to go on a picking spree. I might get a little bit carded, but I do have quite a bit of Shetland carded, because remember, if you've been watching past episodes, I was kind of flying through some Shetland of my own, getting prepped for this. So we have several fleeces in natural colors ready to go. Already carded up and in beautiful bags, and it just kills me just to see them sitting there. I'm like, ooh, somebody could be spinning this. Okay, you all. I am going to, I'm just going to move this up just because why not? Just so I don't forget it on the bottom for some reason. That's it. We will move onward tomorrow. Homeward I go. All right, you all, you have told me more times than I can count that I could have the pigs in every episode. So here you go. I came out to do their water. And let's go say hi. Johnny! Oh my goodness. I don't have food today. Just love. Let me try to pull back. They've already had breakfast. They're out. You can see there's lots of grass. And everybody's getting hair back in after a lot of effort. Hi, boys. So he is slowly getting his hair back in, but it's been like 2 years probably since he's had a full coat. So I'm excited by this that I'm seeing. And look at those ears. Oh, look at those ears. Oh my goodness. I know. I'm sorry. Johnny somehow always has poop on him. I know, boys. Did you not get enough scritching? Here's the roll. Oh my goodness. Here's the roll we live for. All right, it's hard for me to hold a camera, but you can see them both in their glory. They are just on their A game today. All right, I gotta go do your water. All right, we're actually at the carder. I'm here too. And I have got oats here blended with the other Shetland from the other farm. I don't know what this Shetland's name is, but Oats is one of our wethers. He is a nice fine wool boy, and fine weather wool boy, I should say. And he's so sweet. He's probably our sweetest. I'd say he's our sweetest wether. We've got a couple sweet wethers. We've got a couple that are a bit much. But he has always just been sweet as pie. And I blended him up with the other white Shetland, and we're ready to do some carding. And I wanted to, I didn't video the picking because I thought, I don't have as much time this week, as you may tell by the late on this. And I'm a little bit in getting ready for vacation and getting this spin to knit ready. So I'm a little more focused with a little bit less time, but not rushing. So here we are, and let's get this started. We're just doing that first initial feed. So I'll let you pop over here, and you can see what I'm always doing back here. So I've got my scale, and basically I'm just weighing because I want the same amount to go in on each feed, because that makes for a nice even roving when you're spinning. So I'm weighing it out. You don't really have to do this. Well, you definitely don't have to do this for carding, but I do. If I was making yarn on the spinning machine, then I would have done this for sure. So why wouldn't I do it for hand spinners, right? Like, we don't need less of a product just because it would go faster if I didn't do this. So there you go. And it just makes a more even roving, which makes an easier spin. So we're going to go pop down the other end, because we should have a good amount coming out now. And let's get this roving going, shall we? I know white's like not the most exciting, but I don't know. I still love spinning white. So, okay, it's coming off. And I'm going to grab that bit. We've got some on the ground that we'll just pick up. I did a really nice job of running the carder before this so that it would be, you know, as clean as it could be for a white fiber. You know, I'm never going to get 100% of the fiber out, but I did a pretty nice clean, and I haven't run a ton through here. So, okay, I am just to your right here. Whoop. We're gonna go thread in our hook for our roving deck, and then we're going to join the hook up with some fiber, and then we're gonna run this baby. So you can see there's a little hook right here now coming out of the roving. You probably can't see the hook, but you can see the wire, and I am just getting this close in so I can loop some fiber on there, enough that it will stay on the hook, we hope, and run through the roving deck. Pull this out. Try not to get you all too sick. Put on my belt, and then we should be able to get some fiber out. And I don't think I'm gonna have time to sit down and soapbox this week if we want any video out. So I thought I would just share my quick thoughts. Currently, the US government is shut down other than said necessary workers. And my thoughts on it are, it's not good for our country, but it was probably the last resort that we had for any sort of give other than what the administration wants. So we're gonna start this up real quick, and then I'll talk for another minute. There it is. Ooh, it's spinning good. Oh, or carding good. I'm so happy. Nice, lovely blend. And our fiber has a little more luster, and her fiber has a little bit more, little bit softer handle, but Oats is really a gorgeous handle too. So this is gonna be a really lovely addition to the kits for those that want to have this natural white in there. Back to our shutdown, and we'll wander around and look at the carder as it's going after I hit the go button. So we are, Mitch and I obviously are self-employed, both via the farm and this lovely wool mill. I have been self-employed basically since I was about 23. Okay, I have been self-employed probably, 25, probably since I was about 25 when I started my first business. I'm 50 now. So I have not had my health insurance covered by an employer for a very, very long time. Now, when I had employees, we did cover part of the insurance. Insurance has always been insanely expensive, right? And if that is a benefit that comes with your job, hurrah, because let me tell you, it is rough out there. I'm getting more fiber so we can load up here. Instead of spinning, we're carding. How's that for a soapbox, right? And you all can be right here. So, you know, a big part of what this shutdown is about is health coverage for so many Americans, be it Medicaid or be it insurance premiums. That tax credit, before the tax credit, we were paying close to $900 a month for insurance for anyone who doesn't have to, who's lucky enough to not have to pay anything into your insurance. And that was for two of us. We were younger then. Mitch is still a bit younger. And that was basically for oh shit insurance. That's what we call it. Like something bad happens and you better be insured insurance. So not the best, but better than not having any. After the tax credit, we now pay a little less than, I think, between $400 and $500 a month, which is still a significant amount of money, right? And I am absolutely terrified. We're gonna peek in here for what our health coverage is going to look like this year. Absolutely terrified, because it's gonna be brutal. I know it is, and I hope that we don't have to switch insurance companies. We have had to switch insurance companies multiple times over the past few years to keep costs low as we can. And then combined with that tax credit, it made things better. And a lot of it was I have one doctor that I want to see because I've been lucky enough to get them. And I wanted to keep that doctor. So we're always mindful of what plan to be on to have. I have a single practice, you know, like a doctor with her own private practice. And that's very hard to find. So anyway, while it's not ideal for our country, I do think that it was the one way that we could try to get things to be a little bit better. And I am sorry for everybody who's about to get a notice in the mail saying that their insurance is skyrocketing, because we're lucky enough that we'll be able to get by. Lots of people will not be that lucky. Lots of people won't. And you combine that with increased costs everywhere. You combine that for us with product not selling because of tariffs. It's rough. What's not rough is this absolutely stunning fiber. Can you even with that? So it's a little mini soapbox. I have so many things I could say, but for this week I want to get a video out for you all. Here it is. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm thrilled. And you guys, there's not even a lot of VM in here. I mean, these fleeces had VM, for sure. There's little bits, but you know what? Cody, if you're watching, I hear ya. He was saying he likes a little bit of VM, right? Because it just tells the story of these animals, and that is true. And it's lightly processed. I'm gonna just pop over and show you before we go. So, this is the dyed teal. This is processed Shetland, a whole fleece. There's two more processed fleeces down in those bins. I'm just taking you on a quick, so there's 2 more fleeces that are processed, and I'm gonna turn this off so I don't mess up. We'll pop over here so you can see these kits are coming along. This is more wool to get picked. So this is a little bit more gonna be a cream, because you can see there's a fair amount of those flecks in there. Here's some of that morit. Here's the rest of the white. Okay, you all, I'm so excited for these kits. I will be spinning along too, and I'm hoping when I go on my trip next week that my patrons will be so kind as to do a little work for me, and I'm going to be sending them the colors so they can help me decide what colors are in each kit. And here is that one that we washed up earlier that we started the episode cold soaking. It's showing a little bit extra grayed out. It's deeper than that, but it also turned out lovely. So I'm gonna turn the light off. Let's see if that will give it a better view. Look at, I'm trying to like get an episode out for you all, and I'm making a mess. Okay. That actually is more what it looks like. It's still doing its best. There we go. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So, okay, I'm gonna pause and say goodbye. All right, you all, this is a quick episode, but I shared what I could quickly get in there to share. Not even quickly, it was just like, it's just one of those weeks. That's how it happens. So thank you all so much for joining me. I'm hoping to have a slightly long video come out next week. There will also be the follow-up here on YouTube with Amy and I sitting down. If you didn't listen to the audio podcast of that yet, I'm gonna pop that up so you can sit and watch and listen to that too, because we look really comfy and happy sitting there, and I am warm and fuzzy when I watch it as well. So watch for that. And I am heading out next week, midweek, so if I don't get a video out, that is why, but I will be back. I will be back. So everybody, and it will be time to start spinning and knitting. Our patrons will get to pretty quickly after I get back. They'll start having access to the kits, and then if you're not on the newsletter, get on there. And if you're not in the Ewethful Patreon community, jump in there. It's a lot of fun. There's so many great, wonderful, supportive fiber people in there. So finally, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching to the end. And don't forget to subscribe, like, find me in all the places, join the community. Until I see you again, be kind to your neighbor. Just because our administration shows zero empathy to all of us out here on the ground doesn't mean we can't and should and can do better with each other. So be kind to your neighbor. Stay healthy. I'm going to go get my vaccines tomorrow, so I may not feel great on Saturday, but it will be worth it before I get on a plane. And finally, make so many pretty things until I see you next time. I love to hear about them and share them, so feel free to email me pictures. Thank you all so much for watching. Everybody take care, and take care of yourself.